It's a very good evening and a warm welcome to RTM News. My name is Sanda Nomosaga Kuto. Thank you very much for joining us once again tonight. Without wasting of any time, let's just take you right straight up to the top stories happening in South Africa, giving you highlights of that. Johannesburg shakes, blaze extinguished. We'll be talking about the fire that broke into Johannesburg Shakster. Seekers workers attacked by a tiger in Johannesburg. A boy died after pots of soccer goalpost fall on him. We'll also be looking at a story of a woman that was reportedly dead and her head was missing. The head has been found in Chatsworth. So now let's just go straight to the top stories in South Africa. Johannesburg shacks, a blaze extinguished. A fire which destroyed 80 shacks in Joshkoch informal settlement in Johannesburg yesterday morning was finally extinguished after a long battle, the city emergency services reported. Spokesperson Nana Hadebe said there were no injuries or missing people reported. Disaster officers took down the names of people to see how could they help them and in terms of items such as blankets, food and shelter. It was unclear how many people were displaced and what the cause of the fire was. Seekers worker attacked by a tiger in Johannesburg. A circus worker was attacked by a tiger in Redfontaine, Johannesburg yesterday, paramedics reported. Netcare 911 spokesperson Chris Botha said in a statement that the man sustained severe bite wound and scratches to his neck and chest. The tiger escaped from its enclosed early yesterday morning. The man was taken to hospital. Botha could not provide no further details on the attack, nor could he provide the name of a circus, which he said was on Bears Nodia Drive. A boy dies after part of a soccer goalpost falls on him. A 13-year-old boy was killed on weekend when a part of a soccer goalpost fell on him at the school in Tabong in Free State, paramedics said on Saturday. ER24 Russell Merring said paramedics arrived on the scene and found a group of children standing around the lifeless body of the young boy. According to Merring, witnesses later said that the boy had apparently been swinging on the goalpost when it collapsed and struck the boy on the head. Authorities were investigating the incident. Missing head found in Chatsworth. The missing head of a woman who was killed in Chatsworth in KwaZulu-Natal had been found, police said over the weekend. Colonel Jay Naker said the head was found in an informer on the south coast on Friday, while her body had been discovered on Thursday last week. Naker said Chatsworth police detained 6 suspects, including a woman and a traditional healer. The group, aged between 18 and 32, was expected to appear in Chatsworth Magistrate Court earlier on today, where they faced a case of murder. Let's just take a very short break. We'll be back in a bit. To stay with us. Please do not go away.
Christian Church of God Southern Africa Region 2 invites you to a monthly divine encounter. The theme, Power Encounter. Date, 29th Friday, August 2014. Ministry, Pastor E.O. Daramola and other anointed men of God. Venue, The Master's Place, number 4 Commercial Avenue, Streeton Park, Randburg, Johannesburg, South Africa. For more info, please call us on 011-791-4141. And you can also email us on rccgsa2@gmail.com. Great is our Lord and mighty in power. Be blessed.
There is power in the name of Jesus. There is power in the name.
Welcome back again. We're still right here on RTM News. My name is Sanda Nomosaga Kuto. If you've just joined us, now let's just take you right straight up to the top stories happening in other parts of Africa. But before then, let me just give you a very short recap on what we have discussed in South Africa. We discussed the stories of Johannesburg shacks that went in blaze and they were extinguished in Joshkoch. And we discussed the story of a seekers worker that was attacked by a tiger in Johannesburg. We discussed a story of a boy who died after a soccer goalpost falls on his head. And lastly, we looked at the story of a missing head of a woman that was found in Chatsworth. Now let's look at the top stories in Africa. More than 250 migrants may have died in a shipwreck of Libya. And also, Niger detained minister over child trafficking. We'll also look at a story of about 36,000 homeless people in Niger flooding. And also a story of about cops that killed 2 women in tense region of Tunisia. More than 250 migrants have died when a boat sank in a kilometer off the Libyan coast, the Coast Guard official reported yesterday. Coast Guard official Mohamed Abdelatif told the Reuters that they believe there are still more than 250 bodies trapped underwater, adding that when they went underwater, they discovered that the boat is a lot bigger than they thought. The boat sank late on Friday in the east of the capital, Tripoli. Thousands of migrants, mainly from the sub-Saharan Africa, have crowded into rocky vessels in recent months in an effort to reach Italian shores. Niger detained a minister over child trafficking. Niger's agriculture minister was remanded in custody on Saturday in a politically charged probe into suspected baby trafficking. One of the wives of Hama Amadou, the main rival of Niger president, is among the 17 people, including 12 women, being held in the case since the end of June last year. After he was heard by the judge who remanded him in custody, all suspects have been charged with substituting children, forgery, and making false statements. 36,000 homeless people in Niger flooding. At least 12 people have been killed and more than 36,000 made homeless in Niger due to flooding caused by heavy seasonal rainfall, the government reported. Floods are an annual recurring problem in the West African country during the rainy season when overflowing streams and rivers sweep away homes and destroy crops, leaving victims without shelter and creating food shortages later on. Evacuation by the Civil Protection Services uncovered 12 deaths. The UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, citing government figures, said that 36,441 people had lost their homes in the flood as of the 21st of August 2014. Cops killed 2 women in tense region of Tunisia. Police killed 2 women in tense region of Tunisia early on Saturday, mistaking them for members of an armed group, the Interior Ministry and the relative reported. The ministry said that in a statement that an internal security patrol was stationed by the roadside in Kasserine in central western Tunisia after a citizen supplied information about an armed group heading to the town. Ashraf Henrici, a cousin of the woman, told the AFP correspondent in Kasserine that he was also in a car when the police tried to stop them and that the driver refused to stop, fearing that the people by the road were terrorists. The minister said it's regret the death of the 2 young women and offers the condolences to the families. Let's take yet another short break. We'll be back in a bit. Just stay with us. Please do not go away.
The Redeemed Christian Church of God, Open Heavens Assembly, Johannesburg, South Africa, invites you to another powerful Divine Experience 2014. Theme, The God of Possibilities, starting from Thursday 11th to Sunday 14th September 2014. Ministry will be Pastor Elijah Daramola, Pastor in charge of Southern Africa Region 2, Apostle Simeon Karuki, Kingdom Age of Apostles and Prophets, Bishop Timothy Olagoke Daniels, Pastor of Freedom Ministries. Host, Pastor Olaleko Martins, Pastor in charge of Altenzion 2, Pastor Tayo Soluade, Pastor in charge of RCCG Open Heavens Assembly. Venue, number 42 Albertina Zulu, former Bezunde Hood Street, Troyville, opposite Bertram Spa, Johannesburg, South Africa. For more info, please call us on +2782 057 4607 +2772 604 6376, or you can also email us on info@rccgopenevans.co.za, or you can visit our website on www.rccgopenevans.co.za. Come and experience the supernatural with the Lord Jesus Christ. See you there.
Lord of hosts, Jehovah Sabaoth, Elohim, the everlasting.
Welcome back again. If you've just joined us, we welcome you. Now let's just take you right straight up to the top stories happening in Nigeria. But just before then, let's just give you a quick recap on what we have been going through in other parts of Africa. We looked at different stories, starting with a story about more than 250 migrants that might have died in a shipwreck off Libya. And also we discussed a story about 36,000 homeless people in Niger flooding. And also we looked at a story about the cops that killed 2 women in tense region of Tunisia. We also heard that Niger detained minister over child trafficking. Now let's look at the top stories in Nigeria. Doctors suspend strike over Ebola threats. The Nigerian Medical Association said it has suspended a public sector doctors' strike to help efforts to contain Ebola virus in the country. The association yesterday directed doctors to return to work by today. The strike started on the 1st of July 2014 before the Liberian-American Patrick Sawyer flew into Nigeria and introduced the virus in Lagos, the commercial capital. Nigeria's government said the country has 14 confirmed Ebola cases. 35 police missing after Boko Haram raid. 35 Nigerian police officers deployed to training academy in remote northeast are missing after Boko Haram attack on the facility earlier on this week. A spokesperson said on Saturday the Islamics attacked the academy just outside the town of Goza on Wednesday. Boko Haram seized Goza earlier this month, but the military has said it is preparing an offensive to retake the town in Borno State. 35 policemen who are still missing from the facility as a result of the latest attack are still being searched. Airline operators kick against new charges. Airline and service providers are set for a showdown with the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria over what they described as a random increase of charges. They have threatened to suspend their operations if FAAN does not reverse the charges, Daily Independent reported. FAAN had increased its group rent, apron pass, operational vehicle sticker and car permits, among others, by between 33 and 500% to all its clients in the sector. The new charges are exclusive of 5% turnover the agency collects from most of its clients annually. Kwakwalada flood victims count losses, seek FG assistance. Victims of Friday's heavy downpour, which ravaged many parts of Kwakwalada Area Council in the FCT yesterday, called on federal government to assist them. A news correspondent who visited some of the affected areas reported that the rainstorm destroyed over 100 houses, rendering residents homeless at Agwan Bassa area. Many houses were completely submerged and one could barely see the rooftops of some of the taller buildings. That's all what we have for you on the African continent. Please do stay tuned as we're taking you right straight up to Violet with the international stories.
Thank you, Susanda, and welcome to RTM International Stories. My name is Violet Mguelo. Qatar rejects claims it backed Islamic State. In Dubai, the Gulf nation of Qatar is hitting back at suggestions that it supports the Islamic State extremist group, saying that determined collective action is needed to end Syrian violence gripping Iraq and Syria. The energy-rich OPEC member has come under renewed scrutiny over its ties to militants, including the Palestinian, Hamas, and Syrian rebel groups. A German official last week suggested that Qatar may also play a role in funding the Islamic State group, which is fighting in Iraq and Syria and was behind the recent beheading of American journalist James Foley. Qatari Foreign Minister Khalid bin Mohammed Al Attiyah unequivocally denied funding the extremist group and quoted, "Qatar does not support extremist groups, including ISIS, in any way," and unquoted, he said in an email statement dated Saturday, using an alternative name for the group. In Bolivia, a patient isolated for Ebola check. And La Paz authorities said on Saturday they were investigating a first potential case of Ebola in Bolivia. The patient, whose name and age were not given, had made stopovers in several cities in Africa. Santa Cruz Health Service Manager Roberto Torres told Oxygeno Online and quoted, "Yesterday we had a report from a private hospital on an Indian patient who's being treated for fever, diarrhea and vomiting." He said the health ministry in South America's poorest nation just 10 days ago said rules on early detection of potential infected people, and on Friday the World Health Organization said the outbreak sweeping West Africa has claimed 1,427 lives. China executes Tiananmen Square attackers. In Beijing, China has executed 8 people for terrorist attacks, including 3 it described as masterminding a suicide car crash in Beijing's Tiananmen Square in 2013, the state media announced. The official Xinhua news agency said early on Sunday that the 8 were involved in several cases connected to the northwestern region of Xinjiang, where Beijing says separatist militants are behind the stirring of attacks that have rocked China in recent months. 3 of the condemned, named by Zhuang as Hussein Guzar, Yusuf Wanius and Yusuf Hamid, were deprived of political rights to life for their role in the brazen assault in Tiananmen Square in October. The 2 terrorists were killed in the attack in which a car rammed into a bystanders on the iconic square in the heart of Beijing before bursting into flames. The 3 attackers also died in the incident. Beijing blamed on Xinjiang separatists, but Xinhua said 5 others were executed, including Rory Aziz, who was convinced of an attack on the police in Kansu in 2013. Iran says it downs Israel drone near nuclear site. In Tehran, Iran's Allied Revolutionary Guard said yesterday its forces shot down an Israel drone as it approached an Iranian nuclear site without offering further details. The Israel officials could not be immediately reached for comment, and the statement comes as Iran negotiates with world powers over its nuclear program and headliners pressed moderate President Hassan Rouhani to demand more concessions before limiting its atomic capabilities. Israel has not ruled out taking military actions against Iran nuclear facilities if its capability to build an atomic weapon progress. The Guards issued a statement yesterday on its website saying its forces fired a missile at the drone as it neared its uranium enrichment facility in Natanz, about 240 kilometers south of the capital. Tehran, the statement did not say when it shot down the drone, nor did it elaborate on how the Guards knew the drone was from Israel. That's all the international stories we have for you this evening. Please do stay tuned for Adelani with the sport news.
Thank you, Vuyo. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. My name is Adelani Ogurede, and you're currently watching RTM Sports News. These are the top stories in the world of sport from the weekend. Making local football headlines, Kaizer Chiefs and Orlando Pirates win semi-finals in style to set up a grand MTN 8 finale. In other local news, women's football, Banyana, too strong for Zambia. In our international football bulletin tonight, RTM Sport gives you a roundup of the results in the most competitive leagues in Europe. In our football transfer news of the day, Di Maria waves goodbye to Real Madrid. In motorsport news, Ricciardo wins Belgian GP. In tennis news, the US Open begins. Roger Federer and Serena Williams look to bounce back. These top stories in detail, starting with the MTN 8 semi-final results from the weekend. Kaizer Chiefs will meet rivals Orlando Pirates in the final of the competition, following their 5-0 aggregate demolition of Platinum Stars. Amakosi were victorious after winning the second leg of the semi-finals 3-0 at the FMB Stadium in Soweto yesterday afternoon, thanks to goals from George Maluleka, Renelwe Yeye Lesholonyani and Katleho Umpela. On Saturday, goals by Erasmus and 2 great goals by Majoro was enough for the mighty Bucks to book their spot in the final. A 3-1 semi-final victory over Bidfest Wits saw Orlando Pirates win their encounter 5-1 on aggregate, Expect a heated Soweto Derby final on the 20th of September. In local women's football, a hat-trick from Portia Modise secured Banyana's victory over Zambia as they thrashed their opponents 4-0 in an international friendly. Moving on to the latest football results in Europe, starting with Germany. Champions Bayern Munich won their opening match 2-1 when they met Wolfsburg on Friday night. Their rivals Borussia Dortmund, on the other hand, were not as lucky and were stunned 2-0 by Bayer Leverkusen. In Spain, despite the sending off of Mascherano, Lionel Messi inspired the team to a 3-0 win over Elche. In Friday night's Titanic Super Cup clash, Mario Mandzukic was the star of the showpiece as the early goal secured a 1-0 win over Real Madrid and a 2-1 aggregate success to clinch the Spanish Super Cup and gain revenge for last season's Champions League final defeat. In England, Arsenal scored twice in the last 7 minutes to escape from the jaws of defeat with a 2-2 draw at Everton. In the day's earlier encounter, Chelsea put another impressive display as goals from Eden Hazard and Diego Costa saw them defeat Leicester 2-0 at Stamford Bridge. Yesterday, Manchester United labored to a 1-1 draw with Sunderland as they delivered coach Louis van Gaal's first point in the Premier League. There were also wins for Spurs, West Ham and Swansea. In our international transfer news of the day, RTM Sport understands that Manchester United have allegedly concluded negotiations with Real Madrid and will break the British transfer record fee after agreeing a deal worth £63.9 million for the eclectic Argentine winger Angel Di Maria, eclipsing the £50 million Chelsea paid Liverpool for Fernando Torres 3 years ago. Switching our attention now to motorsport, Red Bull's Daniel Ricciardo won the Belgian Grand Prix yesterday. Hamilton accused championship leading teammate Nico Rosberg of deliberately turning into him on the second lap. Hamilton retired with a damaged car, but Rosberg, blamed by the bosses and booed by the crowd on the podium, finished second to extend his lead to 29 points with 7 of the 19 races remaining. And lastly, tennis. The US Open is underway with defending champion Rafael Nadal missing through injury and Novak Djokovic and Andy Murray making early exits in the warm-up tournaments. A resurgent Roger Federer will hope to win his first US Open title for 6 years. In women's tennis, Serena Williams hopes to defend her US Open title but faces tough opposition from an improving women's field. So that's all the sports news I have for you all this evening. But before I go, let me give you your day's guide in sport. In the English Premier League, Manchester United will play Liverpool at 9 p.m. In La Liga, Real Madrid versus Cordoba would be at 8 p.m. Rayo Vallecano versus Atletico Madrid will be at 10 p.m. It's a good night from me, Adelani Oguriede. For now, let's cross over back to Sasanda.
Thank you very much to Violet with the international stories and also to Adelani with the hitting sport news as always. Now please do stay tuned as we're taking you right straight up to the weather. Thank you so much for being with us. That's all what we had for you tonight. Please do meet us again, same time, same place, right here on RTM News. My name is Sanda Nomusaga Kwabe. Stay blessed and good night.